Coming up next on At Your Service, a conversation with Innovative Therapeutic Services. Welcome to At Your Service. Today we are talking to two mental health clinicians from Innovative Therapeutic Services, and they're here to tell us about all the wonderful programming and services that they offer to Anne Arundel County residents and families. So welcome. Thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it. So first, can you tell us a little bit about just your name, your title, and what your role is with Innovative Therapeutic Services? We'll start with you.
Sure. My name is Jenny, and I am a clinician and rehab specialist for ITS. I see clients for therapy at the Innovative Therapeutic Services office in Laurel, and I help to manage the PRP program.
Excellent. Can you tell us just real quick, and I know we'll get into this later, what does PRP stand for?
Psychiatric Rehabilitation Program.
Awesome. And we'll talk more to let everyone know what that means, but I just wanted to make sure everyone knew what that acronym was. Go ahead.
First, I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity to be here today. My name is Tori Taylor, and I am a mental health therapist with Innovative Therapeutic Services. I work both on the clinic side as well as also on the school-based side. And what I do is talk therapy, basically, for both sides of the services that we offer.
Awesome. Thank you both.
So ladies, I always think counseling is a bit of like a passion, a calling to be, to work with students around mental health. Talk a little bit about your journey and what brought you into this field.
So for me personally, I want to be a guide or resource to those that need it. Practicing talk therapy and helping to manage the PRP program gives me the opportunity to help those in the community and help be a guide for individual needs and unique needs. I just want to offer that positive support that I wish I had when I was in public school as well.
Thank you. Yes.
Tori?
And along with Jenny, similar. However, in addition, I believe it is everyone's right to be spiritually, mentally, and physically whole, and so and healthy. And so it was my calling to be in a field that offers that, and that's mental health. Allows people to be able to address any issues that they may have that may hold them back from reaching their next in life. And I believe starting with children is the best way to give them those tools that they would need, because they're always going to face things in life. And so giving them those tools at a young age to be able to navigate through life, that's what brought me into the field.
Thank you.
Great. So tell us about Innovative Therapeutic Services. How does it operate, and how does it support families, children, residents of Anne Arundel County?
Yes, so Innovative Therapeutic Services, we are an outpatient mental health clinic. We started in 2009, and so we operate both by providing mental health services for children, adolescents, and adults. And we serve our community by both on, as I said, the clinic side as well as the school-based side. And so we partner with schools in various counties, but specifically Anne Arundel County. We partner with various schools in the area, and so we also operate by accepting personal insurance, private insurance, as well as public insurance. And so we work to lessen the cost on people receiving mental health services by being able to use their insurance. We also support children and families by providing psychotherapy, which is basically talk therapy. And so we provide individual counseling, family counseling, as well as group counseling. We also have our psychiatric rehabilitation program, which is our PRP program, which Jenny's going to talk more about that as we move forward. And then we also have our psychiatric medication management, and where we have 3 psychiatric nurse practitioners where they can prescribe medication if it's needed for the client, as you're going through their wellness journey. And if we see that that will be a benefit for them, we have that in-house to be able to provide that service for them as well. So that's how we serve.
That's great.
Operate.
That's great. So talk a little bit how you support AACPS, our school system, with our expanded school-based mental health program. I know you have your private program, but then we're also partners with you.
Yes, yes. Yes, so ITS, Innovative Therapeutic Services, we have the honor of being able to service and partner with 28 schools in the Anne Arundel County. And so we provide all the services that I previously mentioned. We provide those services for the students in the school as well. By connecting them to those services. And so we have actually on site our therapists who may be assigned to that school who will be able to provide that service for the students during their school days, basically. And we also serve, and I want to make sure I say this, so I have this written down. Clusters. In Anne Arundel County, we have Broadneck, Severna Park, and South River. Those clusters, we service the elementary, all the schools within the elementary, middle, and high school. But we're also in Fort Meade, and and so those schools that we service is Manorview Elementary, Pershing Hill Elementary, MacArthur Middle School, that's in Fort Meade. And then in Crofton, we partner with Crofton Meadows. And then in Odenton, we partner with Odenton Elementary School. And then in Hanover, Chesapeake Science Point Charter School. So just to clarify, in Broadneck, Severn Park, and South River, all the schools, meaning we have a partnership with all the elementary, middle, and high school. But in Fort Meade, Crofton, Hanover, and Odenton, only those schools that I name is where we are.
Oh, so it's just select.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, with expanded school-based mental health, how, this is just kind of a follow-up, how do you, essentially what I'm hearing is this is an opportunity for families to have their kids get counseling that they might get in a clinic, but actually in the school during the school day. So it's convenient. It eliminates barriers. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just as you said, and that's the goal of Innovative Therapeutic Services, is basically to meet the client where they are, right? And so by being able to be in the school system, it helps. And even we'll talk a little bit more, but that is one of the barriers that we see families face, is accessibility, right? And so and then having to figure out that time of taking your child after school to a session. Well, while they're at school, they can have a session, because we're there to be able to provide it. So you're absolutely right. It does allow to take that barrier away to
definitely.
access. Mm-hmm.
And it is awesome, and Susan and I are well aware of the partnerships that we have. And I do want to make sure parents know that we do have, at those other schools, there are other partners there. So,
correct.
So, ITS has 28 schools, and we do have partnerships with other mental health agencies and some of those other schools. So it's really, we do offer a lot of opportunities for children to get mental health in their schools, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to ask another follow-up to that. How do you, as a clinician, you said you work at MacArthur. How do you operate with our student, or collaborate with our student services staff, our counselors, our psychologists, our social workers, in terms of the work that you do with students, and then making sure that they're aware so they're getting that support during the school day?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's the beauty of it, right? Because we, first of all, in our intake packet, right, that we collect, we have a release of information form, right? And it allows us to be able to talk with the teachers, the school social worker, the school psychologist, so we can collaborate and be able to support the student in what the student needs, and so being right there with, having access to the school counselor, and we'll even talk a little bit more about that, is because the school counselors are the ones who refer the students to us, right? So the parent, their first step when it's in school is to go to the school counselor and let the school counselor know. And sometimes even the school counselors well, I won't even say sometimes, a lot of times, the school counselors actually say, hey, we have this service you might want to think about. We have a partnership with ITS. And so that's how it's formed, and they put in the referral for the student to have that service. So yes, we very much are collaborative and able to work with everyone and be that support team, part of the team to support the students to be successful.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that allows for whatever you're working on in therapy to also be communicated to the student services team, and to allow whatever skills or things that the student's working on to be for them to try that or in the classroom, so you're seeing the progress. Everyone's working together with the family, so that's great.
Yep, definitely reinforcing wonderful things that they're learning.
So
it's critical.
What do you all feel are as you work with families, are some of the biggest issues or challenges facing those families in Anne Arundel County?
Yeah, so you basically, as one of the questions we just talked about, the lack of accessibility to mental health services, right, is one of the main issues that we find. And so by being able to be in the school, we take down that barrier, right, because we are there. So they don't have to figure out that timing and that scheduling conflicts, because the therapist is right there on site. So we find that's one of the biggest challenges. We also find that we have seen, mentally, emotional, and behavioral challenges has rose since the pandemic and everything. And so by being able to help students manage the symptoms that they may experience, as far as with anxiety, such as worrying a lot, or the stress portion of it, having stress management issues, the family dynamic, navigating that. So we see those as being challenges, understanding what are the symptoms and what does it look like, and then helping them to understand and to navigate as far as that stress management and the family dynamic. So those are the issues that we mainly see.
If I may add to grief as well, children experiencing grief, families experiencing grief, it has been definitely an increased challenge, seeing the increased symptoms, anxiety as well, impact their lives. And having our team and our therapists help to support those students has been pretty vital.
Yes.
When you say grief, are you talking as a direct result of like impact from the pandemic?
Yes, losing family members, different, even, maybe not even physically losing family members, maybe in family dynamics, people separating, splitting up, definitely having a direct impact on the child's life, adolescent life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most definitely. So one of the things that we talk about is, do you see, we talk about, location as well. And I know that, just real quick, do you see differences in where people live and the kind of mental health or, behavioral issues that they're experiencing?
For the most part, we don't. What we see is that across the board, many people face similar situations, the family dynamic, the social economic concerns that they may have, the stress that's increasing and everything. So for the most part, no, we don't see, like, depending on where you live, and where there may be challenges as far as that's concerned. So from our experience, we don't see that.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short TV timeout, and when we come back, we're just going to pick up our conversation with the both of you. So stay tuned. We'll see you in a few minutes.
By choosing nutritious foods, you provide your body with the necessary fuel to thrive both mentally and physically. A well-balanced diet, including fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins, enhances your cognitive function. It boosts your immune system, helping you to ward off illnesses and stay in top shape. Healthy eating promotes positive body image, self-confidence, and long-term wellness.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Bedell, and I am proud to be the superintendent of Anne Arundel County Public Schools. a district of 85,000 students and 14,000 dedicated employees. We are on our way to being the best school system in Maryland, and we could use your help to get there. Consider one of these many careers with us. So what are you waiting for? Apply today and help students like these be
AACPS awesome!
Welcome back to At Your Service. And ladies, we were discussing about all the mental health services you provide and partner with the families and students of Anne Arundel County, and definitely our partnership with AACPS. But we're going to talk a little bit about how have families that you work with been recovering from this pandemic? And I know we touched on it a little bit, but what seems to be the things, the common themes or ideas that when you're working with families that you've been really kind of focusing about?
Yeah, that's a great question because I think families are trying to return to a normal life, right? I mean, and I
know.
It was saying normal. Yeah, right. I'll do air quotes, right? Life after the pandemic. But with the recent pandemic, you know, there's been, of course, an increase in stress and social isolation for students, and working hard to find those coping skills that they need in order to manage those emotions, to emotionally regulate themselves. So I would say, you know, one of the biggest things is since the pandemic and how to help families is those coping skills have been tremendously important, right? Because going from being in isolation to now having to learn how to navigate being back in those social situations, back in school,
Right.
having social anxiety. So we have seen that. So just helping parents and students understand or learn those coping skills that they can use to help them when they're feeling stressed or feeling anxious, even with decision making, you know, help them to be able to make helpful decisions, and you know, and so practicing those problem solving skills and everything like that, we find that that's been helping transition now back into the recovering after the pandemic. So
Right, and it's been a slow return, hasn't it?
yes.
Yeah, and I would also like to add, like, through the isolation too, we're helping families again with highlight on the problem solving skills, increasing conflict resolution because they've stayed inside with each other so much for so much time, being able to express themselves positively without conflict. Or if conflict comes up, how do we help challenge them? How do we help empower them and highlight on their strengths so that they can be able to support each other, pandemic or not. Just being able to have greater control of their lives as well, and connecting them, you know, possibly with family therapy if they need it. Just giving them that those resources.
Right, and Ryan and I have younger children, and we just noticed a difference, I think. I know that he and I talk a lot about just some of the things that they're different. They're different beings in a way, and definitely trying to, you know, not have them worry over something and stress out over something, and then being able to be, I think, more involved.
Right.
You know, sometimes they're texting each other, but they're sitting right across from each other, and just,
Exactly.
you know, just those little things. It's like a different day.
Yeah.
How do you tap into the internal stimuli to, like, say, hey, I'm stressed. Hey, I'm feeling, you know, nervous right now. And even identifying what that feeling is can be really challenging already for children and adolescents. So even that with the use of social media, you know, they can use emojis, they can, you know, connect with each other, but really being able to have that face-to-face, hey, I'm feeling this way. Or how do I ask for support when I feel this way? What are my needs? You know, like a lot of times when I'm working with families, I help them to, I'm feeling this way because, you know, or I have this, what is this? Oh, I have this need. I need you know, can we go on a walk together? You know, maybe like spend some time, you know, or, you know, yeah, I'm, you know, it's a very challenging time, you know, so identify emotions and feelings has been challenging for kids.
Yeah.
So being able to, yeah.
So, what are some specific programs or services that Innovative Therapeutic Service offers to the residents?
So as we mentioned, as Tori had mentioned, so currently Innovative Therapeutic Services offers talk therapy, individual, family, or group, medication management, and PRP services, psychiatric rehabilitation program. And as we had mentioned, our main clusters are in Broadneck, Severna Park, South River, Fort Meade, Crofton, and Odenton.
For your group therapy, is it all ages or you focus on particular separations of ages? Like, is it elementary or is it middle? What does it look like?
Yeah, so as far as the group therapy, it's based on what the need is and what we see, right? And so then that's what will formulate how we would do the group and everything. Now I know on PRP you guys have some,
Yeah, we offer, I guess this is a great time to talk about
So
PRP, right?
Tell us
Okay.
more about the psychiatric
Okay.
rehabilitation services that you offer.
I'm glad you asked. So,
what does that look like? So, first tell our audience, what is that? What does it look like? And then when they start that program, what do they actually experience?
So Psychiatric Rehabilitation Program, PRP, is a community-based program for clients that receive individual therapy and have Medicaid. So
this would be an addition.
Yeah, it's a service that's adjunct to therapy.
Okay.
It's a behavioral action-based program that helps clients to progress on their goals outside of therapy.
Gotcha.
So what we do is we help them strive to promote self-sufficiency, greater choice, and greater control of the client's lives, and of course increase participation in the community. Typically for school-age children and adolescents, some areas that we might highlight and help our clients improve on is social skills, coping skills, boundary setting, self-esteem, bullying, academic and IEP support, improving healthy relationships, possible transition from schools to schools, or even for adolescents, transitioning from school to adulthood, really helping guide them and give them that therapeutic mentor support. Now, we're not the same as a therapist, but the way that you can think about us is that second pair of eyes in treatment. We're offering that additional therapeutic support outside of therapy. Other areas that we might help is, we talked about social media, so helping to manage social media, navigating peer pressure, and accepting personal responsibility. I think the list can go on, but those are just a few.
Yeah, and so when you say it's adjunct to therapy, so can we dig into that a little bit? Is it basically in therapy they're gonna get a little deeper, or maybe they're working on some skills, and then PRP is when they can practice those skills? Is there like role playing?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Things like that. Can you dig into that a little bit?
So we're taking the clients out in the community, or we're meeting them wherever is most convenient. We do offer virtual and in-person services. So what our PRP coordinators do is they meet with the client for 60 minutes. For children and adolescents, it's 3 to 4 times a month. So they'll meet with them once per week and have conversations with them, similar to a therapist, but really help them reinforce some of those goals. So if they're, for example, if they're struggling with socialization, we'll meet with them in the community and really help them to practice those social skills that they learned, those pro-social skills, like how are you doing, how do you present positively to the community?
Right.
So PRP is a lot of application.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
Got it.
So that is, in a nutshell, that's what PRP, helps to work on with our clients. We're really that second pair of eyes to really help guide them to reach those goals and help further the therapy goal progression, because sometimes there are certain students that may be working on these goals in therapy, but really having that additional support person to have that quality assurance to help highlight and say, okay, this is what it looks like. So we might role model, we might incorporate them even into our virtual PRP social groups to help practice social skills.
So with the PRP program, is every student that's referred for individual counseling, are they appropriate for a PRP, or do they engage in the PRP? How does that work?
So typically with the referral process, typically a therapist will review certain symptoms, progression of symptoms, kind of identify like what symptoms are not being decreased. Typically like reasons for referral, they might be having trouble with really functioning in a behavioral way, either individually, in their family, in the community, most diagnoses help, qualify for PRP, but we really look at the progression of symptoms and, are they reaching this goal? And we always refer to our treatment plans too, to really be able to indicate in therapy or clinic therapy treatment plans to be like, okay, well, I think maybe having some mentorship would really help the client to progress, having additional quality assurance. Because, therapists can talk all day to parents and say, hey, these resources might be great. We might be like, okay, well, how are you doing these? We might have those conversations of, how are we doing with that and the action.
Yes.
Generalizing skills.
Yes, and
Yes.
that sometimes they know what the skill is, but applying it on that daily basis is always can be a challenge.
Absolutely. Yeah. What are the and every
Right.
like we had mentioned, like everyone has unique barriers, right?
So,
So helping to identify that is really important because sometimes we might not even see it ourselves.
right.
If the parents that are and guardians and community members that are watching this, if they want to get connected to Innovative Therapeutic Services, how would they go about doing that?
So I am really glad you asked. So they can call our ITS office in Laurel at 301-604-1458, and we can get them connected.
And then on the school side, they can just go directly to their school counselor,
Excellent.
and they will be able to connect them with our services.
Excellent. And even if maybe they call the clinic also could refer them, give them that same piece of advice, right? They're going to help them no matter what.
And so one of the last things, is there anything that, when you're thinking about for students and families and any of the parents or the guardians or caregivers that are watching today, what information maybe that we have not covered that you would like to share with our residents of Anne Arundel County?
Please don't let accessibility be a barrier, because we're here to meet you where you are, whether it's at school, virtually, or in the community. We're here to help. Mental health well-being is vital. So ITS is here to walk you through you and your child's individual needs. So like Tori mentioned, I'm going to help reinforce this. Parents and guardians who do not have children who attend the clusters that we had mentioned can still call our office to get connected with services.
So you mean like adult services also?
Right.
Yes, we offer individual therapy also for parents too.
Good. And you mentioned virtual, and so if someone wants to access outside of school services,
They can meet us virtually, and we also have afternoon, evening sessions in the office as well. We have clinicians that can help them.
Fantastic. And I know our county is pretty diverse. Do you have diversity as well in your clinicians?
Yes.
Good. Because I think that's really critical. Sometimes people want to have that.
Yeah, Spanish speaking.
Yep.
Just, clinicians who look like them, and that's key. And so is that, as Susan said, that's something that ITS.
Yes. We match our clinicians based off of their individual needs and also preferences. So like if they want to see XYZ in a counselor or a therapist, we try our best to match them based off of their preferences. And we also do that as well in PRP as well. So, typically when I do intakes with parents, I'll ask them, okay, what is the preferences? So we'll match them based off of their desired needs.
And before we wrap up, I just want to highlight something you said earlier, just to make sure parents know, which I think is unique to Innovative Therapeutic Services. You all offer families who have Medicaid as well as private insurance. And with private insurance, are there limits to the types of private insurance that you all take?
They can go look on our website
Okay.
and find
awesome.
out exactly which insurances we do take.
Okay.
But yes, we take a broad range of
Okay.
insurance, private insurance.
Do you take TRICARE for military families?
Yes, we do.
Excellent. Okay, I
Absolutely.
know being at a couple of schools that are on
Right.
base, I know that, and in the Crofton, Odenton area, I just wanted to make sure families know that also. So,
Mhm.
excellent.
All right.
If I may also add, I forgot to mention this earlier, but we also have a PRP informational video on our website, so that children and parents can take a look at that and get more of a sense of what PRP services are. And there's actually like a practice scene of what PRP services looks like in a session.
Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us on At Your Service today.
Thank you.
And if you are watching our show today, please, if you have questions about Innovative Service Therapy, you can either contact them or you can reach out to your school counselor. See you next time on At Your Service.